Failure. It's a word that most people fear. It's a word that stops dreams, kills momentum, and crushes spirits before they even have the chance to rise. Failure is the beginning, not the end. It's the moment where most people stop, but it's also the moment where champions are born. When things fall apart, when your plans collapse, and when you face disappointment after giving your all, that's not the signal to quit. It's the signal to start again, but wiser, stronger, and more determined. Failure doesn't close the door on your dreams. It simply redirects you toward the right one. Every time you fail, life is teaching you something vital that success never could. Success might make you proud, but failure makes you real. It humbles you, it breaks your ego, and it rebuilds your foundation with discipline, resilience, and truth. The problem is that most people see failure as final. They treat it like a verdict, as if once they've failed, they've proven they weren't good enough. But failure doesn't define your potential, it reveals it. It shows you where you stand and what you need to grow. Every setback carries within it the seed of a greater comeback, but only those who are brave enough to keep going ever get to see it bloom. You have to stop treating failure as the end of the road and start seeing it as the start of your education. The lessons you learn in defeat will teach you how to handle victory when it finally comes. When you look at every person who ever achieved greatness, you'll see the same pattern. They failed, often more than anyone else. The difference wasn't talent or luck. It was persistence. They understood that failure was part of the process, not proof that they should stop. When you understand that, something shifts inside you. You stop fearing failure and start using it. You stop hiding from challenges and start chasing them. Because you know that with every failed attempt, you're getting closer to mastery. You're refining your skills, strengthening your mindset, and shaping your future through experience. Failure is the testing ground for belief. It asks you how badly you want what you say you want. Anyone can be confident when things are going well, but when you fail, when the results don't match the effort, when the world doubts you, that's when you find out who you really are. If you can still look forward, still keep faith, still take that next step after failure, then success becomes inevitable. Because no one who keeps trying can stay down forever. Failure can slow you, but it can't stop you unless you let it. Every time you fail, you're gaining something: perspective, knowledge, and mental armor. The pain of failure sharpens your focus. It teaches you that success isn't built overnight, but earned through consistency. You begin to realize that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Without failure, success would mean nothing. Without defeat, victory wouldn't feel as powerful. Each time you fall short, you're writing another chapter in the story of your resilience. One day, those failed moments will become the very foundation that supports your triumph. You can't avoid failure if you want to grow. You can't run from it because it's the proof that you're trying something bold, something beyond your comfort zone. Failure doesn't say you're done. It says you're becoming. It's the fire that forges character, the storm that strengthens roots, and the struggle that builds greatness. So when you fail, remember, this isn't your ending. It's the beginning of a stronger, smarter, unstoppable version of you. Growth lives beyond comfort, in the space where most people refuse to go. It's out there in the challenges that scare you, in the failures that humble you, and in the moments when you want to quit, but don't. Come from where dreams go to die because nothing grows in ease. The truth is, the life you want, the strength you seek, and the potential you're capable of unlocking all exist outside the walls of safety and predictability. You cannot evolve while clinging to what's familiar. Real growth begins the moment you step into discomfort and choose to face what others run from. Comfort feels good, but it keeps you stagnant. It tells you that where you are is enough, even when deep down you know it's not. Comfort whispers lies. It convinces you that staying still is safe, but in reality, it's slowly draining your purpose. The world's tough. You start to lose the fire that once burned inside you because you've stopped challenging yourself. You've stopped pushing the limits of who you could become. Growth doesn't happen in routine or repetition of the same easy habits. It happens when you test yourself, when you take risks, when you're willing to look foolish, and when you choose progress over peace of mind. Stepping outside your comfort zone means embracing discomfort as a teacher. It's about welcoming the unknown. Even when it feels terrifying, every time you do something that scares you, you're not just doing a task. You're expanding your capacity. You're training your mind to adapt, your heart to stay calm in chaos, and your body to keep moving under pressure. That's how strength is built, not through comfort, but through confrontation. You confront fear, failure, rejection, and pain until they no longer control you. The more you expose yourself to discomfort, the more comfortable you become with growth itself. When you look at anyone who has achieved greatness, you'll see a common pattern. They went through discomfort that most people avoid. They sacrificed short-term pleasure for long-term fulfillment. They endured sleepless nights, lonely roads, and endless criticism because they understood that growth demands suffering. You cannot reach your best self by staying where it's easy. You must enter the arena, take hits, and learn to stand taller every time you fall. Every challenge you face beyond your comfort zone shapes you into someone more disciplined, more focused, and more unbreakable than before. Discomfort is not punishment. It's preparation. Every struggle you face while chasing your dreams is shaping your foundation for the life you want to live. The pain you feel today is the evidence that you're evolving. Each time you push past resistance, when you do one more rep, one more hour, one more attempt, you're sending a message to your future self that you refuse to settle. You're telling life, I'm not afraid to grow. The truth is, you can either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One builds you, the other breaks you. The choice is yours. If you stay in your comfort zone, you'll never know how far you could have gone. But if you step into the unknown, face the fear, and accept the struggle, you'll discover strength, potential, and courage that were hidden within you all along. Growth doesn't live in the easy. It lives in the effort. It lives in the moments you think you can't go any further, and then do. Lessons are hidden in every fall, waiting for the ones who have the courage to look beyond the pain. Every time you stumble, every time you fail, every time life knocks you to your knees, there's a message buried beneath the disappointment. The problem is that most people are too focused on the hurt to see the wisdom. They only see what went wrong, not what they can learn. But those who pause, reflect, and study their failures find something priceless: experience. Every fall carries knowledge that can't be learned from books, advice, or success. It's raw, real, and unforgettable because it's earned through pain. When you fall, you're being shown something about yourself. Maybe it's a weakness you ignored, a blind spot you didn't see, or a truth you weren't ready to face. Failure has a way of revealing what success hides. When everything is going well, you rarely stop to analyze your actions or mindset. But when things collapse, you're forced to see clearly. You begin to understand your limits, your patterns, and the choices that led you there. That awareness is the first step to growth. Without falling, you'd never develop the self-awareness needed to evolve into a stronger version of yourself. Every setback holds a hidden opportunity for improvement. The fall might hurt, but it's also a mirror reflecting what needs to change. Maybe you need more patience, more consistency, or more preparation. Maybe you need to change your approach, your attitude, or your circle. Failure doesn't arrive to destroy you. It arrives to direct you. It points out where you went wrong so you can adjust, improve, and rise higher the next time. Each mistake you make becomes a teacher if you choose to listen. But if you ignore the lesson, you're doomed to repeat the same fall again and again. The beauty of falling is that it teaches humility. It reminds you that no matter how confident or skilled you think you are, there's always room to grow. It keeps your ego in check and your hunger alive. Success without failure breeds arrogance, but failure without reflection breeds bitterness. The key is to find the balance, to fall, to feel the pain, but then to rise wiser, not weaker. Every failure refines you. It strips away illusions and builds your foundation on truth. When you fall, you also learn resilience, the ability to keep going when things don't go your way. You discover that your limits aren't fixed, and that pain isn't permanent. The lesson isn't just about what went wrong. It's about realizing that you can survive what once broke you. Every time you rise after falling, you become more confident in your ability to face life. You start to understand that failure is not something to fear, but something to embrace. Because each fall gives you new insight, new strength, and a new reason to keep fighting. The people who rise to greatness are not those who never fall, but those who learn faster from every fall they take. They collect lessons like weapons, turning each mistake into knowledge, each failure into power. They don't hide from their setbacks. They analyze them, grow from them, and use them as fuel to push forward. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Life's greatest lessons aren't found in moments of victory. They're discovered in the struggle, in the recovery. Every time you hit the ground, you're given a chance to rebuild stronger. Every fall is a lesson, and every lesson is a step closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Persistence turns failure into power, because every time you refuse to give up, you take control of your story. Failure by itself has no real power. It only gains power when you stop trying. But when you keep going, when you keep pushing forward despite the setbacks, you transform every defeat into a tool for growth. Persistence is what separates those who only dream from those who achieve. It's the invisible force that keeps you moving when motivation fades and the results don't show. Success isn't built on perfection. It's built on persistence, the willingness to rise again and again until the struggle turns into strength. The truth is, everyone fails. Everyone faces moments of doubt, fear, and disappointment. The difference is that some people stop at failure, while others use it as fuel. The ones who persist see failure not as a wall, but as a stepping stone. Every setback becomes another chance to refine their strategy, build their endurance, and test their resolve. They understand that progress is rarely instant, and growth never comes without friction. Persistence takes failure, something that breaks most people, and turns it into a lesson, a motivator, and eventually a weapon. When you persist, you send a message to life itself. You can knock me down, but you will not keep me down. That mindset shifts everything. You begin to see challenges differently. Instead of fearing obstacles, you start expecting them. Instead of resenting the struggle, you start embracing it. Because you know that every failed attempt is moving you closer to success. The path to achievement is rarely straight. It's full of twists, detours, and setbacks. Persistence is what helps you navigate through all of it without losing sight of your goal. Failure tests your desire. It asks, how badly do you want it? Anyone can start something when it's easy, but only the persistent finish when it's hard. Persistence gives you an edge because it builds mental toughness, a strength that no one can see but everyone can feel. It's the quiet confidence that comes from surviving disappointment and showing up anyway. That's real power. The kind of power that doesn't come from luck, talent, or opportunity, but from pure determination. The longer you persist, the more failure begins to work in your favor. Every time you try again, you gain more experience, more insight, and more resilience. Eventually, the same situations that once defeated you no longer shake you. You start to operate with calmness in chaos, clarity in confusion, and strength in pressure. What once felt like failure now feels like feedback. You stop fearing the process because you've realized that every trial is building you, shaping you, preparing you for the success that others gave up on too soon. Persistence doesn't just change your results, it changes your identity. It transforms you from someone who reacts to failure into someone who uses it. That's real power, the ability to take what was meant to break you and use it to become unbreakable. When you keep showing up after every fall, you prove that your will is stronger than your circumstances. You start to embody the mindset of a winner, not because you've avoided failure, but because you've mastered the art of rising after it. Persistence is the bridge between failure and success. It turns weakness into wisdom, pain into purpose, and setbacks into stepping stones. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. What matters is how many times you stand back up. The more you persist, the more you realize that failure was never the end. It was the training ground for the power that now lives within you. Your breakthrough is hidden behind one more try. It's that single extra effort, that one last attempt when everything inside you says you're done. That often changes everything. Most people stop right before their moment of transformation. They give up when the pain feels too heavy, when the progress feels invisible, or when the results don't match the effort. But what they don't realize is that every great success story has a breaking point, a moment where everything seems impossible, and yet the person chooses to keep going. That decision, that refusal to quit, becomes the spark that ignites the breakthrough they've been chasing all along. The difference between winning and losing isn't talent, luck, or timing. It's endurance. The ones who win are those who find a reason to try again when logic tells them not to. They push past fatigue, disappointment, and self-doubt because deep down, they understand that persistence always pays off. Each time you try again, you're not starting over, you're starting stronger. You're carrying the experience, the lessons, and the resilience from every previous attempt. That accumulation of effort eventually tips the scale in your favor. Your breakthrough isn't some magical moment that appears out of nowhere. It's the result of every one more try that came before it. You've been closer than you think many times. The problem is, it doesn't look like success when it's approaching. It looks like struggle. It feels like frustration. It feels like you're going nowhere, when in reality, you're just a few steps away from the turning point. The pain you feel before the breakthrough is the final test. Life is asking if you're truly ready for what you've been asking for. If you quit, you fail that test. But if you dig deeper, push harder, and give one more try, you prove that your desire is stronger than your doubt. That's the moment when things begin to shift. Every great invention, every world-changing idea, every personal transformation was built on countless failed attempts. The difference was that someone refused to walk away. They didn't give up after hearing no. They didn't stop after the plan fell apart. They believed that just one more effort could be the one that works. And eventually they were right. Success rewards those who are stubborn enough to keep trying when it no longer makes sense. You might fall 99 times, but the 100th could be the one that opens the door. The truth is, you'll never know how close you are unless you keep trying. That one more try is where you find out what you're truly made of. It's where you stop chasing validation and start proving to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. The moment you decide to try again, even when exhausted, even when discouraged, you take back your power. You separate yourself from the crowd because most people stop when it hurts. You rise when others rest. You fight when others fold. That single decision to go again turns doubt into dominance. So when you're at your limit, when your energy is drained, and your mind tells you there's no point, remember, your breakthrough might be one more try away. One more rep, one more call, one more hour of effort could change your entire life. You don't fail when you fall short. You fail when you stop showing up. The universe rewards endurance. Every time you choose to keep moving, you're building momentum. And eventually that momentum will break the barrier that's been holding you back. Your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of perseverance. Keep pushing, keep fighting, and give it one more try. Because that might be the moment everything finally falls into place.